to joke that I became a gang supporter by a mistargeted Facebook ad. I'm a South Dakotan, and this past summer I was on Facebook and I got an ad, and clearly they meant that for Iowa, but I guess close enough. So after watching this ad, I spent probably several hours and then I created because Andrew Yang is the most important candidate of our lifetime. And it's not just because Donald Trump is in office, but it's because ending abject poverty is literally on the ballot. How many of you guys are familiar with Andrew Yang's freedom dividend? Most of you. Can you hear me? I'm going to repeat the important part, which is ending abject poverty is literally on the balance. Waterloo alone, the freedom dividend brings in $48 million per month into your communities. Right here in Waterloo. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with betting odds, but the betting odds put Andrew Yang at resoundingly defeating Donald Trump. And Vegas was not made by losing bets. So, without further ado, I would actually like to invite up Waterloo Councilman at Large, David Bozak.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming today. I want to thank Dr. Brewing for allowing us to use this facility. I mean, Iowa Caucus is only 15 days away, and there's not a more important event that you people should be engaging in on February 3rd. We got to let our voices be heard. You know, Iowa's the first in the nation caucus, and we are going to help launch the next president of the United States. Iowa has a proven track record of picking the right candidate, and if you haven't made up your mind yet, I strongly urge you to research all of the candidates and find that candidate that best fits your core beliefs and values. Now, my wife and I had the privilege of meeting Andrew Yang on December 13th here in Waterloo, and when we left that night, I've got to tell you, we couldn't stop talking about his message and his vision for our country. Andrew Yang's a problem solver and a nonprofit leader who understands what's necessary to bring this country to the next century. And after seeing people across this country struggle to make ends meet, he traveled around creating jobs with Venture for America. And Andrew knew he had to do something to bring back a better future for Americans. So for over a year, he has been running on a platform designed to give 21st century solutions to 21st century problems. He's been laser focused and bringing back humanity into politics. And please give a warm Waterloo welcome to Andrew Yang.
Thank you, Dave. Hello, Waterloo. Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here, for the warm welcome. Thank you all, too. It is tremendous to be back. This is day 2 of my 17-day bus tour of Iowa, and I love campaigning here because you all have the future of the country in your hands. And it's up to you to solve a problem that for whatever reason, the rest of the country hasn't even really found an explanation for, even though we've been grappling with it for 3 long years. And the problem is this: how the heck did Donald Trump become our president in 2016? How did he win Iowa, the purplest of purple states, by almost 10 points? Now, I'm not a career politician. I'm an entrepreneur and problem solver. My parents immigrated to this country from Taiwan as students. They met in California. My brother's named after the observatory at Berkeley, so we used to joke that they must have had a lot of fun there. father got a PhD in physics. I used to think that everyone's dad had a PhD, so I went around saying, what's your dad's PhD in? And then people were like, this is what his PhD is in. I was like, oh no, what did I do wrong? And certainly I never grew up thinking I was going to run for president. Those were not the conversations in the Yang household. They were more like, you're terrible, clean your room. That was more the message. It was get good grades, get a good job. I became an unhappy lawyer for 5 whole months, and then I left to start a business. How many of you all have started a business or club or organization or mailing list? So if you have your hand up, you know a couple things. Number one, it's much harder than anyone ever lets on. And number two, when someone asks you how it's going, what do you say? It's great. Everything always goes great. My business went great until it failed. My parents told people I was still a lawyer. But I'd been bitten by the bug, and so I worked at another small company and then another and became the head of an education company that grew to become #1 in the US. That company taught me a lot, but also gave me a front row seat as to why our economy crashed in 2008 and 2009. How many of you were here in Waterloo during the financial crisis? And how was that time here in your community? Bad, terrible. Lost your job. I was at another event and a 14-year-old boy said it was very, very hard. And I said, how would you remember? You must have been 3 or 4 at the time. And he said, well, my family had to sell our house, so I remember. Now, I thought I understood why our economy crashed in 2008. It was because so many of the wannabe whiz kids I'd gone to college and law school with had gone straight to Wall Street and come up with mortgage-backed securities and exotic financial instruments and derivatives that had tanked our economy. And I thought, well, that's a disaster, that's a train wreck, so let's do the opposite of that. So I went home to my wife. I give her so much credit because when we met, I was a pretty normal guy. And I went home to her and I said, hey, I'd like to start a nonprofit. How many of you work in nonprofits now? How many of you volunteer for a nonprofit? You should probably just pretend and raise your hand to that one. That was more like, are you a nice person? Yes, I am. There was that one time. So, started this nonprofit with a purpose of creating jobs in cities around the country. Places like Birmingham, St. Louis, New Orleans, Cleveland, places that I thought needed a boost. Now, I had never been to so many of these places, and I felt like the water level was going down, not up, in many of them. I also saw firsthand the gulf between regions of our country, where if you flew between St. Louis and San Francisco, or Michigan and Manhattan, you felt like you were crossing dimensions and decades and ways of life, and not just going a few time zones. But I was still surprised when Donald Trump won in 2016, which was the original question that got me to run for president. If you were to turn on, well, first, how did you all react that night he won? We all remember it very vividly, where it's like the realization sinking in, you're like, maybe this is not happening, and then you're like, yes, it is happening. I reacted the same way where, to me, it was a red flag that tens of millions of our fellow Americans decided to take a bet on the narcissist reality TV star as our president. And though you might have been shocked or saddened, we all have family members and friends and neighbors that celebrated his victory. And I know that you all have people who celebrated his victory in your lives because he won Iowa by almost 10 points. And Iowa's a straight up the middle purple state ordinarily. If you turned on cable news any night from that night in 2016 to today, why would you think that Donald Trump won? Election fraud, racism, emails, Russia, Hillary Clinton, Twitter, Facebook, fear, catchphrases. But Waterloo, I'm a numbers guy, and I went digging through the numbers for an explanation, and I found it. It is that we blasted away 4 million manufacturing jobs in this country over the last number of months. And where were those jobs? Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Missouri, Iowa, all of the swing states that Donald Trump needed to win and did win. You all lost 40,000 manufacturing jobs right here in Iowa. I have been to those towns. After the factory closed, the shopping district closed, people left, the school shrank, and that community has never recovered. I saw the same pattern play out in Missouri, Ohio, Michigan, Western PA over the 7 years I ran Venture for America. This is what the media, for whatever reason, has been missing this entire time. They're laying blame on all of these other factors that did exist, but the core problem is that we blasted away millions of manufacturing jobs, one of the most common jobs in our economy. And if you doubt that this is why, there's a straight line up between the rate of industrial automation in a voting district and the movement towards Trump. It's one of the strongest correlations you can find in the numbers. What we did to the manufacturing jobs is not stopping there. How many of you have noticed stores closing around where you work and live here in Iowa? And why are those stores closing? Amazon, that's right. Amazon soaking up $20 billion in business every year, closing 30% of our stores and malls. Most common job in the economy is retail clerk. The average retail clerk is a 39-year-old woman making between $8 and $12 an hour. When her store closes, what will her next job be? How much did Amazon pay in taxes last year? That is your math, Waterloo. 20 billion out, 30% of your stores and malls close, you get zero. It's not just the stores and the malls and the fast food restaurants and the CVS's and the airports. When you all call the customer service line of a big company and you get the bot or software, I know you do the same thing I do, which is you pound 000, say human, human, representative, 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 or like over and over again until you get a person. Raise your hand if that's what you do. Oh yeah, we all do that. That software is terrible. You're like, I'm gonna reach the one human that works at this company still. I'm gonna get through this stupid tree. But in 2 or 3 short years, the software is gonna sound like this. Hey Andrew, how's it going? What can I do for you? It'll be fast, seamless, peppy. What will that mean for the 2.5 million Americans who work at call centers right now making between $10 and $14 an hour? How many of you all know a truck driver here in Iowa? It's the most common job in 29 states. 3.5 million truck drivers in the US. My friends in California are working on trucks that can drive themselves. They tell me they're 98% of the way there. A robot truck just transported 20 tons of butter from California to Pennsylvania 3 weeks ago with no human intervention. Why did they choose butter for this maiden voyage? I have no idea. But if you Google robot butter truck, you will see the story. And at the end of the route was a giant stack of pancakes. Everything I just said was true except for the pancakes. So if robot trucks are on the way, what will that mean for the 3.5 million truck drivers or the more than 7 million Americans who work at truck stops, motels, and diners that rely upon the truckers getting out and having a meal every day? How many of you have been to Iowa 80 in Davenport? Me too. They proudly say that 5,000 people stop there every day. How many people will stop there when the trucks aren't driven by people? It's going to go down and down and down. We're in the midst of the greatest economic transformation in the history of our country, what experts are calling the fourth industrial revolution. When is the last time you heard a politician say fourth industrial revolution? Just now. 4 seconds. And I'm barely a politician. So these are the facts and figures I was unpacking in 2017. Trump wins. I'm like, oh my gosh. Imagine being the guy who's getting awards and accolades for helping create jobs and realizing that your water is like pouring water into a bathtub that has a giant hole ripped in the bottom. The water is rushing out. So then I went to our leaders in Washington, D.C., and I said, what are we going to do to help our people manage this transition? We are scapegoating immigrants for problems that immigrants have very, very little to do with. And what do you think the folks in D.C. said to me when I said, what are we going to do for our people? Yes, number one, we should study that further. Number two, we cannot talk about this. At another event, someone made that Scooby-Doo noise. It was like, woo, woo, woo. And number three, the most popular was, we must educate and retrain all Americans for the jobs of the future. How many of you have heard a politician say something like that? Oh yeah, we've all heard that. Oh, then I said, look, I'm the numbers guy. I checked out the studies. Do you all want to guess how effective the government-funded retraining programs were for the manufacturing workers who lost their jobs? You know it's low because I'm anchoring you low, but you also know it's low because you know people. You know if 1,000 manufacturing workers lose their jobs, they don't all walk out and be like, I'm here for my coding program. Give me a few months, I'll be coding in no time. Like, that's not reality. The real success rates of these programs were between 0 and 15%. They're a total dud. Of the manufacturing workers that lost their jobs in the Midwest, almost half left the workforce and never worked again. Of that group, almost half filed for disability. You then saw surges in suicides and drug overdoses in these communities to the point where America's life expectancy has now declined for the last 3 years in a row. You know the last time America's life expectancy declined for 3 years in a row? The Spanish flu of 1918, a global pandemic that killed millions. You have to go back a century to find another time in American history like this one. It is highly unusual for the life expectancy to ever decline in a developed country. It ordinarily just keeps going up because you're getting richer, stronger, and healthier. But not in the United States of America. It has gone down and then down and then down again. So when I said this to the folks in DC, they said, well, I guess we'll get better at retraining then. And one person said something that brought me here to you all today, Waterloo. He said, Andrew, you're in the wrong town. No one here in DC is going to do anything about this because fundamentally this is a town of followers, not leaders. And the only way we will do something about it is if you were to create a wave in other parts of the country and bring that wave crashing down on our heads. And I said, challenge accepted. I will be back in 2 years with the wave. And that was 2 years ago, Waterloo. And I stand before you today, fifth and rising in the polls to be the Democratic nominee. We raised $16.5 million last quarter in increments of only $35 each. No corporate PAC money, and my fans are almost as cheap as Bernie's. But this is an uprising by the people to take back our government, to work for us, because we know it does not work for us now. Who does it work for? It works for the corporate interests and the lobbyists that have the run of the place. And you all can do something that the rest of America only dreams about. Most Americans look up and they see our government as a series of pipes clogged with millions and millions of dollars of lobbyist cash, and they say they can do nothing. They are right. They can do nothing. You all can flush the pipes clean. On February 3rd, that is the magic of this place. That's why I love campaigning here in Iowa. I did the math. Do you know how many Californians each of you is worth? 1,000 Californians each. That's right. So look around right now. What's the fire code of this establishment? I'm going to give a Trumpian estimate.
It's right about where it is.
All right. Oh, good. Thank you. I'm going to give a Trumpian estimate as to how many of us are here today. There are 2,000 people here in the bar. If there are 200 people here today, that would be 5 football stadiums full of Californians of power. That is the power that you all have. That is why presidential candidates come to you over and over again and ask for your support. Because if you get behind a vision, it will spread like wildfire throughout the country. Now, I know it doesn't feel like you're among the most powerful people in the country. You just are living your lives, seeing people come through, but you are. You are the envy of the rest of us. And the question that the entire world is asking is, how will you use that power on February 3rd? Now, if you're here today, first, how many of you saw a TV ad with my face on it? Maybe that brought you here. Well, that makes me very happy because we spent a lot of money on those ads. But at some point, you heard that there's a man running for president who wants to give everyone $1,000 a month. Raise your hand if you heard that. Fantastic. The ads work. And I know the first time you heard that, it sounded like a gimmick, like a joke, too good to be true, would never happen. But this is not my idea, and it's not a new idea. Thomas Paine was for it at the founding of our country, called it the citizen's dividend for all Americans. Martin Luther King, whose son I had the privilege of meeting with in Atlanta, fought for this in the 1960s, the guaranteed minimum income, and it is what he was fighting for when he was killed in 1968. 1,000 economists, including Milton Friedman, one of the fathers of modern economic thought, endorsed this in the 1960s. It was so mainstream, it passed the US House of Representatives twice under Richard Nixon. The Family Assistance Plan would have guaranteed an income floor for all American families. And then 11 years later, one state passed a dividend where now everyone in that state gets between $1,000 and $2,000 a year. And what state is that? Alaska. And how do they pay for it? Oil. And what is the oil of the 21st century? Data, technology, AI, self-driving cars and trucks. A study just came out that said that our data is now worth more than oil. How many of you saw that study? How many of you got your data check in the mail last month? If our data is now worth billions of dollars a year, who is getting all that value? Google, Amazon, Facebook, Apple, and the trillion-dollar tech companies that are sucking us dry and paying nothing or next to nothing back into our country. Do you see how the game works, Waterloo? The reason why you feel like you are being depleted is because you are being depleted. How many of you are parents like me and my wife, Evelyn? If you are a parent, you have had this sinking feeling that we are leaving a future that is less stable, less secure, and less prosperous for our kids than the lives that we have led. You know why we feel that way? Because it is that way. If you were born in the 1940s in the United States of America, there was a 93% chance you were going to be better off than your parents. That's the American dream. That's what brought my family here. That's what we all aspire to. If you were born in the 1990s, you are down to a 50-50 shot, and it is declining fast. That is why Trump won. People look up and they see their own future and their children's future, and they do not think it is going to be brighter. And it's not just climate change, it's the fact that we have this dysfunctional economy that does not revolve around us anymore. It revolves around the bottom line and corporate profits of companies that want less and less to do with us. We're getting these messages that things are great. Stock market, record high. Corporate profits, record high. GDP, record high. Headline unemployment, looks great. But at the same time, we're thinking, why do things not feel so great in my family, in my community? Why does it seem like my life does not match up with the numbers? And as usual, you are right. Corporate profits are at record highs. You know what else are at record highs in the United States of America right now? Stress, depression, financial insecurity, mental illness, student loan debt, drug overdoses and substance abuse, suicides. If corporate profits are going up and life expectancy is going down, which do you listen to? We know which one DC is listening to. DC can't even see the people and life expectancy. They're just staring at the dollar signs. Washington, DC today is the richest city in our country. Think about that. What do they produce?
Nothing. Bad decisions.
Well, she just said congressman. And whatever they produce, business is awfully good. This is another reason why Trump won. He said he wanted to drain the swamp. I want to distribute the swamp. Why on earth do you employ hundreds of thousands of people in the most expensive city in the country? Why don't you move some of those jobs to Ohio, Michigan, Iowa, and around the country? You would save billions of dollars right off the bat, and I would argue that the regulators would make better decisions because they would live someplace normal instead of DC where they're just talking to each other all the time. I'm for term limits for members of Congress. The goal should be to go to DC, do the people's work, and then come home. The goal should not be to go there and then crouch for as long as possible and try and get rich. I know how we can pass term limits too. Here's the magic. Pretend you're a member of Congress. President Yang comes in and is like, hey guys, 12-year term limits for all members of Congress, but current lawmakers are exempt. Do you think we'll pass that? Oh yeah, we'll pass that. They'll pass that the next day. They'll be like, we're doing this for the people. And then they'll sign off on it, right? And then all we do is wait for that generation of lawmakers to lose or age out, and then all of a sudden you have term limits, and the entire thing becomes much more responsive and dynamic. After I'm your president, and I do everything I can to improve our lives for 8 years, I will leave that town and you will never hear from me again. That has to be the goal of our legislators. The goal has to be to go do the people's work and then come home. And if that's not your motivation, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So we have these numbers that are telling us a very rosy story, but the numbers are telling us something we know is untrue. And I know how wrong the economic indicators are, in part because of my own family. My wife is at home with our 2 boys every day, one of whom is autistic. How much is her work included in our economic measurements? That gets a 0. And it's not just Evelyn and stay-at-home parents around our country. It's caregivers who are taking care of ailing loved ones. 0. Volunteers and activists trying to make our community better and stronger. 0. Mentors and coaches trying to help the next generation. 0. 98% of the artists in our communities, they get a 0. Increasingly local journalists. We have put almost 2,000 local newspapers out of business over the last number of months because all of their advertising revenue went up to the internet. You know what doesn't function as well if you don't have local news? Democracy. Because how on earth are you going to vote on what's going on in your community if there's no local news? These are the things that we claim to value most in our country. Our families, our communities, our democracy, and we're allowing them to get zeroed out one by one by one. This is what you all have to reverse on February 5th. We have to send a very clear message to the rest of the country that economic value and human value are not the same things, and that we and our children have intrinsic value as Americans, as citizens, and as people ourselves. This is the message that has to be sent, in part because you all are ground zero for the changes. You all saw the mechanization of jobs on the farms, and then it shifted to the factories, got rid of 40,000 jobs. Now it's shifting to the main streets. You all have to stop it before it comes to your highways. By the time it comes to your highways, it's going to be a bit too late. Instead of following GDP and these corporate profits off a cliff, how should we be measuring how we're doing? I would argue we should be measuring it by how we're actually doing. So that would be wellness and life expectancy, mental health and freedom from substance abuse, clean air and clean water, proportion of Americans who can retire in quality circumstances, children's success rate. These are the measurements of our society that matter, and as your president, I would report them to you every year in the State of the Union. I would be the first president to use a PowerPoint deck at the State of the Union. If you like that visual, then this is probably the campaign for you. Because in many ways, we're about trying to drag our government into the 21st century. They are decades behind. They're like this flopping appendage. You know that they are 25 years behind in technology, and I say 25 years precisely because we got rid of the Office of Technology Assessment in 1995. Think about that. Congress has had no independent advice on technology for 25 years. Is it any wonder they have no idea what's going on? You all see when a technology leader shows up to Congress to testify and they ask these embarrassing Stone Age questions. Have you all seen that? And the thing I'm going to remind you of, it wasn't a surprise visit. They knew he was coming. They had their staffers prepare questions in advance that would make them seem with it. And those were the questions they came up with. We can't allow government to lag behind by 25 years anymore because the rate of change is increasing so fast. I am friends with some of the leading technologists in our country today who are working on artificial intelligence. And they tell me, hey, if people saw what was coming out of the lab, they'd be deeply concerned. You know what they never say to me? I know what's coming out of the lab, and everything's gonna be fine. That's not the end of that thought. The more you know that we have to humanize our economy as quickly as possible, that we're in a race that we're not winning. I spoke to a group of 70 CEOs in New York City, and I asked them, how many of you are looking at replacing your back office clerical workers with AI and software? Guess how many hands went up out of 70? All 70. That is the system we have built, Iowa. It's a system where you can fire any CEO who does not have their hand up because they're all about the bottom line. and then we pretend the bottom line serves us, but it does not. This is about actually measuring a trickle-up economy from our people, our families, and our communities up. If we get our fair share back of every Amazon sale, every Google search, every Facebook ad, eventually every robot truck mile, we can easily afford this $1,000 a month in your hands, particularly because where will the money go after you have it? How will you spend it? How much of it will stay right here in Iowa? Not all of it. You might get your own Netflix password. But most of it, where would it go? It would go to car repairs you've been putting off, and daycare expenses, and Little League signups, and local nonprofits, and religious organizations. These are the things that would actually make our community stronger, healthier, more vibrant, would give our kids a real future. We'd be able to look our kids in the eyes and say, your country loves you, your country values you, and we will invest in you. I have run organizations for decades. You can do 3 things with people. Number 1, you do nothing, and they leave you within a year. Number 2, you tell them how great they are. That works for approximately 1 year, then they leave you by the 2nd year. The third thing you can do is you can pay them, you can give them raises, and you can actually invest in their future, and then they may stay with you forever. What are we doing for our kids right now? Some combination of 1 and 2. Somewhere between nothing and telling them how great it is. We have to do number 3. We have to actually invest in them. This is how we actually solve the problems that got Donald Trump elected, and how we ease the rot in our communities that now has gotten worse to a point where it's tearing us apart. Donald Trump's our president today because he had a very, very simple message. He said he wanted to make America great again. What did Hillary Clinton say in response? America's already great. You remember that, Waterloo? It's been a long 3 years, I know. But it's coming to an end. That response did not go over well with many Americans because the problems are real. We have to acknowledge their severity and depth and reality, but then we need solutions that will actually move our communities and our country forward. What were Donald Trump's solutions? Build a wall, turn the clock back, bring the old jobs back. Waterloo, you know we have to do the opposite of these things. We have to turn the clock forward. We have to accelerate our economy and society to rise to the real challenges of the 21st century. We have to evolve in the way we see ourselves and our work and our value. And I am the ideal candidate for this job because the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. Thank you very much, Waterloo. Thank you so much. You may not know this, but math is an acronym, and what does it stand for? Make America think harder. That's right. That is your mission on February 3rd. It is your mission to take this country not left, not right, but forward, because you know that's where we need to go. Thank you so much, Waterloo. Hello, hello. I'm not sure if I have a mic runner. Oh, Conrad, thank you.
Well, I had a bunch of questions ready, and then your speech made me change my mind. So I started a new business.
Good for you.
Okay, but it's a newspaper, which you also mentioned. My husband, raise your hand. My son, raise your hand.
Wow, I love all 3 of you.
I started it with my family. What can the federal government do to help me? We're struggling. It's hard. 7 years ago, I started a newspaper from scratch in Iowa in a town of 850 people. We're doing good now, but it's an uphill battle. What can the federal government do?
First, let's go ahead, give her the mic. Go ahead, give a plug for your publication. Any entrepreneur should do this.
The Dayton Leader newspaper. Find us on Facebook or DaytonLeader.wix.com/Dayton Leader.
Guys, hit him up on Twitter.
I love this question so much, in part because I love entrepreneurs and I love local journalism. So you're like and I love families and business together. So it's like 3 things I love right off the bat. Number one, if you put $1,000 a month into the hands of everyone here in Waterloo, and that money goes into local businesses, do you think that those businesses might have to hire a person or two? Do you think those businesses might need to actually advertise their services and try and reach people? Do you think that they might actually want to talk to the local journalism startup that's actually reaching people that are in the community? So number one is that if you have a trickle-up economy, then all local businesses become much, much more prosperous, including a newspaper. The second thing is that I have a specific proposal for matching grants for local journalism initiatives. Is your paper a for-profit company, a nonprofit, something in between?
For-profit.
For-profit.
Supports my family.
So the federal government, in my mind, has to counteract some of the depletion of local news around the country. But the federal government is in no position to figure out what the heck to do in each community. So what the government should do, in my view, is provide matching grants to companies like yours or nonprofits or public-private partnerships that operate out of town libraries because everyone loves their library, and say, look, if you get it approved by this bipartisan commission showing that you're a legit paper, then we can give you some matching grants to help bridge the gap towards profitability. Because it's going to take that kind of investment in local journalism to make it, frankly, stand the test of time. If we allow all the papers to disappear, then local democracy will struggle, and then we're not going to be able to agree on basic facts. You have to believe in democracy, and if you believe in democracy, you have to make sure that papers like yours can actually exist and succeed.
Thank you, Bob.
On a similar vein, I'm for repurposing malls that are struggling too, because if a mall goes dark, it becomes the source of urban blight. It's like no one wants to go to the ghost mall. So to the extent the community wants to repurpose that mall as a theater, community art space, school, church, whatever under the sun, the government should provide matching grants and help the community find that use. Because if you can keep that mall actually open, then it's a massive value gain for the community, similar to the newspaper as well.
I really enjoy your message, but I'm a little concerned you didn't mention anything about education, and I am a teacher. I am a language teacher.
Oh, you're an English teacher at what level?
I am a Spanish teacher, high school.
At high school. Well, I had a Spanish teacher in high school. You remind me a bit of her. So let's give her a hand for being an educator. I love teachers. I've got two boys, one of whom is in a special needs school, the other one who's in public school. And I can't tell you how grateful I am as a parent anytime I drop off my son, because good teachers are worth your weight in gold. And you know if a teacher is actually investing in your kid and cares about them. So here are a few things we need to do off the bat to improve our educational system. Number one, we need to pay teachers more. And this is not a feel-good decision, this is a numbers decision. A good teacher is worth his or her weight in gold in terms of improved educational outcomes across our kids. How much money is that worth? A lot. And if you pay teachers more, then you retain and attract better teachers by the numbers. Number two, we need more teachers in schools so that you can actually give greater attention to kids who are learning at different paces. Number three, we need to lighten up on the standardized tests. Did you all know we popularized the SAT during World War II as a means to identify which kids not to send to the front lines? And today we treat our kids like every year is wartime. It doesn't make sense. Teachers are changing their behavior in classrooms to fit the tests. We need to free the teachers and the kids and let the teachers make their own decisions and do your own job. The other big change we need to make is we need to stop pretending every kid's going to go to college. We need to invest massive resources in technical, vocational, and apprenticeship programs for jobs that are going to be here for a long time to come. Only 6% of American high school students are in technical or vocational tracks today. In Germany, that's 59%. Think about that gulf. I can't wait to team up with Mike Rowe of Dirty Jobs and have a public awareness campaign being like, these jobs are awesome, and then invest in high school apprenticeships. And we know what's happening with our kids. It's much harder and more expensive to actually have a real technical training program or an apprenticeship program. You know what's easier? Kid, teacher, textbooks, pretend they're going to go to college. Like, that's cheaper, easier, but it's not as good for our kids. The last thing is we should be teaching things like social and emotional learning in schools, financial literacy, the arts. These are things that have been proven to have very positive impacts for kids. And if you know they're not all going to go to college, we should be giving them some kind of life skills preparation that will be useful to any American. I want to give everyone $1,000 a month starting at age 18. Can you imagine that financial literacy class senior year of high school being like, you're about to get the dividend? Like, what are you going to do with it? It is impossible to teach financial literacy to someone who does not have money. It's true. So if you know you're actually going to be invested in by your country, then you get taught financial literacy your senior year of high school. That's a game changer. I would also send kids to other parts of the country to live with other families for 6 weeks their senior spring as an American exchange program, because it's useful for us to see how other people live. It would help tie us together. You don't learn anything senior spring anyway. And this way you'll have like Facebook friends and a bit of exposure, so you'll have a sense of how at least some other American communities live. You go there in groups of 15 to 20 who are also from different parts of the country. What senior in high school would not benefit from that kind of program? Like, and this is something we can easily make happen as a country, particularly because you know where that kid's staying. That kid's staying with the parents of another high school senior who got sent someplace else. You know what I mean? It would just be like a giant kid swap that happens in the spring. So these are some of the things we need to do at the K through 12 level. Very passionate about public education. At the college level, we have to ask ourselves, why did college get 2.5 times more expensive over the last number of years? Did it get 2.5 times better? No. Yeah, just that they've hired so many administrators that it stacked up their costs over the last number of years, and families feel like they have no choice but to pay it. And so then,
funding got cut.
yeah, so number one is because the state funding got cut, and we need to reverse that. But number two is that the administrator to student ratio went up 150% over the last number of years, non-faculty. So if you look at the numbers, that's as significant a driver. So we need to do everything we can to get the cost of college down. I would forgive a significant chunk of the $1.6 trillion in student loan debt that's out there, because a lot of that debt was generated under false pretenses, and it'd be a massive stimulus of our economy if people actually had a light at the end of the tunnel. And for anyone who wonders how we make that happen, do you all remember voting for the $4 trillion bailout of Wall Street? No, none of us voted for that. I'm going to put it to a vote for you all, Waterloo. If you had a choice, bail out Wall Street or keep Americans in their homes, which would you choose? It's pretty obvious, but that's not the choice we made. We bailed out Wall Street to the tune of $4 trillion. I thought this was so corrupt, I quit my job and started a nonprofit and ran it for 7 years just to wash off the stink. And I had nothing to do with it. I was just in the vicinity, and I still had to take a shower, a 7-year shower. So this time, we have a choice again between the banks and our people, and this time we're going to choose our people. Am I right?
Hi, I have a huge question. So with 67% of Americans supporting the legalization of marijuana, how would you use that tax money to fix our bridges and our infrastructure?
This is a great question. I am for the total legalization of marijuana. And then I would pardon everyone who's in jail for a nonviolent pot-related offense on April 20th, 2021, and high-five them on the way out of jail. Why are we always pardoning these rich weirdos with connections? We should be pardoning someone who shouldn't be in jail in the first place that we've never heard of. In terms of the tax revenue, it is true there'll be significant tax revenue generated from marijuana and pot-related businesses. I think those revenues should go, frankly, into mitigating some of the substance abuse issues. Infrastructure is its own thing. I thought at least Donald Trump would give us some bridges and highways just to put his name on them. You know what I mean? I thought he'd at least run around the country being like, Trump bridge, Trump this, Trump highway, Trump everything. I was willing to accept it because we really needed the bridges and the highways. I was like, sure, man, name it whatever you want, just freaking build them. He did not, and so we're here. There's more for us to do. I would take a significant chunk of the $700 billion plus we're spending on our military-industrial complex and try and move that towards infrastructure, because that's a better economic return and it helps prevent and protect us against some of the real threats of this time, which include things like climate change that we know is going to just continue to get worse. So that's one of the sources of the infrastructure money, but we need to invest hundreds of billions of dollars in our infrastructure independent of the legalization of marijuana. I also wanted to take it a step further. I want to legalize opiates for personal use. So if you sell, you go to jail. But if you're struggling with addiction, we need to get you help, counseling, and treatment and not send you to jail. And I learned this from a high school senior here in Iowa in Storm Lake, who said to me that his classmates have fentanyl patches on their shoulders and are addicted, and what can we do to help? And he said they would never seek help because fentanyl is illegal and they're afraid of having a criminal record that is going to ruin their life. And so I heard this and I said, well, how can we help those high school kids actually get help? And if they knew that they could get off the drugs and not have some kind of massive criminal penalty, then they'd have a much more realistic shot at it. I'm sure this is the right thing to do in part because the opiate epidemic that has ravaged so many communities in our country happened because the government turned a blind eye to Purdue Pharma dispensing millions of OxyContin prescriptions under the false pretenses that it was a non-addictive drug, when it turns out it was incredibly addictive. So if the government screws up to that level, then the government needs to try and make it right and not say that if you're struggling with addiction, it's all on you. We have to do everything we can to make families and people and communities stronger and more whole. And I'm so sorry for the people here who have lost loved ones and friends and neighbors to the opiate epidemic, because I know that many of you have. I mean, that's like another symptom. It's like that Wall Street stuff I railed against. The drug stuff's even worse because it's essentially tens of billions of dollars in blood money, just directly. It's a sign of how bad things are in our country, that just everything revolves around the almighty dollar. It's killing us.
This will be the last question, Andrew.
Hey, thank you, Andrew. Over here.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Yep. We're in a 10-year economic boom, largest deficits in history, $1 trillion deficits. A lot of it by tax cuts for corporations and the wealthy.
Yep.
What's your plan to get the budget back under control? What is the Yang plan?
Thanks for the question. It's a great question. I've run businesses and organizations, and when you're in the red and you have a debt problem, you look at two things: revenue and expenses. Do we have a revenue problem in the United States of America? Oh yeah. If you have a $1 trillion tech company like Amazon paying zero in taxes, that's kind of a problem. Starbucks, zero taxes. Netflix, zero taxes. I know you love Netflix, but zero taxes is still not cool. So if you have a mechanism where we're getting a tiny fair share of all of the data money, all of the tech money that's flowing into the cloud, eventually all of the AI and robot money. Robots don't pay taxes. When we have self-driving trucks in this country, the projections are that they're going to save us $168 billion a year. How much of that will come into our hands right now? Zero. Because all that money is going to flow to the tech company that's going to be licensing the software and the equipment, and the tech companies pay zero or next to zero in taxes. So we change that, we can get the revenue up very, very quickly. Imagine you have a toll on every AI work unit so that when the AI is doing the call center work, you're actually getting tax revenue from that instead of zero. This can generate $800 billion, $1 trillion a year with an up arrow attached to it very, very quickly. This is the big change we need to make. You know that Willie Sutton joke, why did you rob the banks? Because that's where the money was. We have to go to where the money is. If you do that, you solve your revenue problem. That helps a lot. Do you have an expense problem? Yes, you do. We spent $6 trillion in the Middle East. $1 trillion in Iraq alone, $700 billion a year on the military-industrial complex that we know of. That money should be going towards making us stronger and more whole here at home. I've talked to thousands of veterans who've come back and are struggling with injuries, PTSD, finding opportunities. So it's not just the $6 trillion plus, it's the human toll. We've been in a constant state of armed conflict for 19 years and counting. 75% of Americans want nothing to do with war with Iran. So how the heck are we at the brink of war with Iran? What happened there? Our Constitution clearly says that it's up to Congress to declare war, but Congress has given that power to the executive branch for the last 19 years. As your president, I will tear up the AUMF and say, Congress, it is your power to declare war in the Constitution. The American people speak through you, and it's not going to be me that drags America into endless wars that cost us hundreds of billions of dollars and thousands of lives. So if you get the revenue problem and the expense problem under control, then you can start to get us back into the black. But here's the magic of the trickle-up economy. You put this money into our hands, studies show that we would increase the size of our GDP by $700 billion a year just on the basis of having better health and better education outcomes amongst ourselves. That's what investing ourselves actually does. This is the true growth. And can you imagine Waterloo with $1,000 a month per person? Do you think people would come here to the brewery a little more often? Do you think people would be more likely to start a business like the newspaper, do something creative, entrepreneurial, that contributes to our overall growth? Yeah, so conservatively, we have a chance to actually grow from the ground up if we actually invest in our people. And that, to me, is one of the primary roles that our government can play. Our government is not good at a lot of things. I mean, let's just face facts. But you know what it's exceptional at? Sending large numbers of checks to large numbers of people promptly and reliably. That is one of its core competencies. We have to lean into that. And if we lean into that, then we'll have a chance to actually grow economically in a way that will help our government grow out of its fiscal issues. You hear the vision, Waterloo? Oh my gosh, I love being here so much. I can't wait for the voting to start February 3rd because we are going to shock the world. Am I right? Let's fight it out, and let's actually leave a future in a country we are proud of for our kids. Now, I'm not running for president because I dreamt about being president. I'm running for president because, like so many of you, I'm a parent and a patriot. I have seen the future that lies down the road, and our kids deserve better. Are we going to give them better? Yeah. Thank you, Waterloo. Let's do it. Let's make history.
Give another round of applause for the next president of the United States. If you would like a picture with Andrew, we're going to ask you to line up on this side of the room and then looping back. You're going to line up along this side of the room where I'm waving back that way and then looping back. Thank you so much. Andrew's going to do a little bit of stuff with press and then he will get to you. Thank you everyone for coming.
Please be safe on the ice outside. It is very slippery outside. Please be slow.
Look how packed this place is. Okay, so what we need right now is we need all of you to donate right now through theganggame.com donation link. All donations go directly to Andrew Lin, to the campaign. Whoever has the highest donation through theganggame.com referral link is going to get a shout out from Andrew immediately following the event. Let me see if I can sneak into the press pool. Hold up. Excuse me, I'm sorry. All donations go directly to Andrew Yang. Whoever has the highest donation will get a shout out on camera from Andrew Yang. Let's read our donations so far. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't be this close, because it looks like it's a local press thing. Alrighty, let's see here.
Hi everyone, if you're getting a picture with Andrew, I'll ask you to have your phone
Thank you, Rick, for the $7 donation. Thank you, Viriat, for the $1 donation, Andrew Yang, through the yanggame.com. Thank you, Diego, for the $25 donation, Andrew Yang, through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Ahoy, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang, through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Donna, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang, through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Randall, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Randy, for the $20.20 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Caillou, for the 100 Caillou with the special last name that I'm not going to say, but you know how special it is, with the $100 donation link to Andrew Yang on the yanggame.com. That means Caillou is our donation leader. Andrew's doing a local press interview. Let's get far away so we don't interrupt. Caillou is our donation leader to get the shout out from Andrew Yang immediately following the event. Who can beat Caillou at $100? Thank you, Jacqueline, for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Kathleen, for the $5 donation through the yanggame.com donation link. So what we need, there are 1,725 of you watching right now. We need all of you to donate right now, just $1. Just $1. We're looking for just $1. And whoever donates $101 will become the new donation leader. Yes, I know who Heidi is. She's standing right in front of me. We have promised the campaign that we can raise them $100,000 during the 17-day bus tour. And the only way it happens is with you guys and your support. Let's show the campaign that we were not lying when we told them that we could raise so much money for their campaign. We promised $100,000 in 17 days, and today is day 2 of those 17 days. Interview someone. Okay, let me try. Oh, how about this? If someone gives a $250 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link, I will go interview someone. But I need to see your donations first. We have some new donations coming in. Thank you, Mariah, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, David, for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Henry, for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Marlene, for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Your money, your hard-earned money, helps power. How much have you raised so far? Well, we started yesterday and we raised $3,000 yesterday. So that gives us 16 days left to raise
just one more reminder to have your phone out on camera if you would like.
Thank you, Evan, for the $1 donation to Andrew Yang. Very much appreciated. Excuse me, ma'am. Sure. Okay. Question for you. Would you be interested in answering a few questions on camera about what you thought of the event?
Maybe my husband.
What? Would you be interested in answering a few questions about what you thought of the event?
No.
Okay, understood. No problem. Thank you, Alan, for the $4.20 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Did I say Alan? I think I said Alan. Dean says he's already donated $500 to Yang. Well, could you be willing to donate $500 more of your hard-earned money right now to get a shout-out from Andrew Yang? Our current donation leader is Caillou at $100. Thank you, Heather, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang. Every single dollar counts. And yes, I also remember Alex from yesterday. Don't worry about it. Oh, we have a new donation leader. Simon just came in with the $200 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Simon is the new donation leader to Andrew Yang, your next president of the United States. And another donation just came in. Thank you, Wei Dong, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Tony, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Yeah, I totally understand that, Dean. Don't even worry about it. Who's going to donate $2,800? $2,800? Do you know the type of shout out Andrew would give you on camera? Do you guys want... Don't put the on camera part? What do you mean? No, Andrew's going to give you a shout out if you have the highest donation. Simon says step it up. Yeah, step it up. Thank you. Ayesha. Wait, hold on. Thank you, Serena. I think I already thanked you for the $10 donation. Thank you, Ayesha, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Christopher, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Ian, for the $2 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. By the way, guys, the next event was originally scheduled for 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. However, that is actually just when the forum starts. Andrew does not speak till 5:20 p.m. Central Standard Time. So we will go live around 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we have a new donation leader. Henry just dropped $768 of his hard-earned money to donate it to Andrew Yang's campaign. Thank you so much, Henry. You are a true champion. We love you so much, Henry. You are the man. Thank you, Rosalie, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Lazel, for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Zoo, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Kim, for the $3 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Dan, for the $4.20 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Jamie, just dropped $100 for Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Diana with the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Hi, Mom. Yes, that is my mom in chat. Can anyone donate for my mom? Thank you, Jackson, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Ying, for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Kevin, for the $100 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Again, our new donation leader for the shout out from Andrew Yang at the end of the stream is Henry at $768. Can anyone match Henry at $768? Agent Orange says, look at the feed. Let me, see, I'm going by email, but if I go into my internal ActBlue page, I can check and see. And I have confirmed that Henry is still our donation leader at $768. Remember, guys, the link to donate is the yanggame.com donation link. Every single dollar goes directly to Andrew Yang. Yo, how's it going? I met you before, right?
Yes, that's already.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your name again?
Miles.
Miles. Okay. Yeah.
Are you vlogging right now?
Yeah, dude, you're live with 1,265 people. Yeah. Dude, what's your message to the Yang Gang? What's the best way that they can help support the campaign right now?
Donate.
Yes, that's right. You guys got to donate right now through the yanggame.com donation link. And whoever has the highest donation will get a shout out on camera from Andrew Yang immediately following the selfie line. Okay, now we'll ask you real questions. What do you think of Andrew's town hall tonight? Or not tonight, this afternoon?
They need a bigger place. There's a lot of people here.
Yeah, place packed.
Yeah. It's cool to see a bunch of people coming out. So the speeches are always, did a great job.
Yeah, dude. You know what I always find funny? When, like, Trumpers come in the chat, and because I have my camera angle, like, right on Yang, they're like, well, only 20 people there, why is this guy running? It's like, bro, if only you knew.
Man, yeah, like there's a lot of people here. Like it's really cool to see.
Yeah, no, I got here like 7 minutes late, and I walked in, I was like, damn, this place is But, yeah. Is this your first time hearing Andrew speak in person, or have you heard him before?
Yeah, I've never seen Andrew in person. So
Oh, wow.
It's a huge deal for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I get to shake his hand today. It's gonna be,
Yeah, get your selfie and everything. Get him to sign the beanie.
Yeah, I think that, well, we'll see, because I think he's trying to not do signatures.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Dude, he's got to do a signature.
I hope so, man.
Someone here, where are you from again? Where are you from again? Oh, yeah. So you came all the way from that faraway land here just to support and canvas from Andrew Yang. So guys, what you need to do is be like Miles here and come out from wherever you live and come to Iowa, New Hampshire, or any early state that you can get to, but mainly Iowa and New Hampshire, and canvas for Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
This guy right here came all the way from some land.
All right, everyone, we're about to get started here. Just a reminder that we need to get him on the bus, like, now. So we're going to keep these conversations to 0. We're just going to do a picture and go, picture and go, picture and go. Thank you so much for understanding, everyone. Make sure you have your camera apps open, and make sure you don't slip on the way out. It's very icy outside.
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Aaron.
Aaron, nice to meet you.
Nice
Matt.
to meet you too, man. I appreciate your work.
Dude, what'd you think of the speech?
What's that?
What'd you think of the town hall?
Oh, it was incredible. Always is.
It always is?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Q&As are always awesome to see him say a little bit different. It will be definitely a little different, but oh man, yeah, he's he's not just the political and economic leader we need. He's a spiritual role model we've been desperate for. He's his integrity kind of rubs off on you. You know, that's why I'm here. I'm here from Western PA. Canvassing for him because I see in my community a desperation for his ideas, his data-backed policy. So it's incredible.
What's your experience been like canvassing so far?
Everyone likes Yang. Not everyone is convinced that everyone else likes Yang.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I feel like because a lot of lists are kind of targeted. And those people are, I mean, they think of themselves as politically minded, right? So they kind of are making a calculation of electability. But he said something in a speech once that was like, this isn't about who we think is the most electable. It's about who we like the most, because who we like the most becomes the most electable.
Exactly. Yep. It's kind of like it's like the same thing where people say, "Oh, my vote doesn't matter," but if everyone thinks that, then it effectively doesn't matter. So you just, if you like someone, vote for him, and he's gonna end up being the person. But
that's what the primary is about. So.
Thanks for coming out all the way from Pennsylvania. Like, that's awesome. Appreciate it so much. They want me to interview.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna try to go find.
But that shows part of the problem. See, I mean, our immigration system needs to get reformed too.
I'm Canadian. So.
What?
I'm Canadian, so yeah.
Okay. But if you wanted to move here, it would be hard. Although if you are a medical doctor or professional, you can move easily.
If I were a medical doctor?
Because
thank you, Lou, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Stephen, for the $100 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Lisa, for the $25 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Raymond, for the $7 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Kathleen, for the $10 donation through the yanggame.com donation link. You're on Yang Stream and the Zach and Matt show at once. Nah, dude, you gotta watch on my channel, not Ted's. Don't give him the viewers. No, I'm just kidding. So me and Ted, the guy who runs Yang Stream, we work together. No problem. Ted is the guy who runs Yang Stream.
Is he here?
No. I'm Matt from Zach and Matt show.
I'm Alex.
Nice to meet you.
Derek.
Derek. And Jenny. Nice to meet you. What did you guys think of the event? great.
And we came here from Philly.
All the way from Philly here to canvas.
Just got in yesterday.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear.
I'll be a precinct captain.
Precinct captain.
In Cedar Falls.
In Cedar Falls. That's awesome, dude. Unfortunately. Yeah. Unfortunately, the chat wants me to go find boomers to interview, so I gotta be on my. Nah, appreciate you, man.
Go get him.
Yeah, gonna find him. Excuse me. Hello again. Great. How are you? Excuse me, ma'am. Question for you. Would you be interested in answering a few questions about what you thought of the event? What do you think of Andrew?
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So, coming into this event, what did you think of Andrew?
I already had positive information about him, so I just came to kind of get his vibe and meet him in person.
And which you still have yet to do. You're here in the selfie line.
Yes,
but,
I want to get a picture with him. I really like him. I think that he has a good vision. I think that he would be a positive influence for our next president.
Is he someone who you think you would caucus for on February 3rd?
I'm pretty sure I'm about like the 85%.
85%?
Yeah, pretty
Awesome.
sure. So.
Who, coming into this event, were there any other candidates that you were looking at besides Andrew?
I like Steyer. Buttigieg is okay. Bernie's okay. But my kids kind of got me interested in Yang. So I've kind of been following him a little bit more close, and I'm leaning towards him, I think, at this point.
Awesome. What is the issue that personally matters most to you? There's a lot of them.
All
so.
of it. I don't know if I can pick out one thing. I think the $1,000, for the adults, I think that's a good thing for the economy. I think there's a lot of people that could, as a family, particularly, could really benefit from something like that. But, the environmental issues, the immigration issues, it's just all of it. I don't know if I can really pinpoint one thing that I like the best.
Yeah, there's so much important stuff that's going on.
There is, yeah.
But, what was I going to ask? Oh, what would $1,000 a month personally mean to you?
It'd be a little extra kick in the pants. I'd really like to help my kids out with daycare with my grandkids. So that would probably, at this point in time, I'd be earmarking that to kick it over to them, so that then they have 3 little ones that are all under 4. So then it would help them maybe get a little more free time in their lives.
Awesome. What was her name?
My name's Linda Estrada.
Linda. My name is Matt.
Nice to meet you,
Yep,
Matt.
you as well.
Take care.
Enjoy your selfie with Andrew. Thank you, Misha, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Lynn, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Remember, whoever is the highest donation during this stream through the yanggame.com referral link is going to get a shout out from Andrew Yang immediately following the event. Which means our current donation leader, let me check again, is Henry at $768. Is anyone going to donate $768 or more and get the donation from Andrew Yang? Or not the donation from Andrew Yang, get the shout out from Andrew.
We had a volunteers.
Alright, so whoever is the highest donation through the yanggame.com donation link is going to get a shout out on camera from the next president of the United States. He needs your money so that he can continue to fund ads throughout the state of Iowa, to continue funding all the ground operations going on throughout Iowa, to continue funding the cost of transportation and travel during this 17-day bus tour, to make sure that we're powered not just through Iowa, not just through New Hampshire, not just through Nevada, not through just South Carolina, but through Super Tuesday and beyond, because we are going to win the whole thing. But we need your money. Thank you, Andy, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link.
Like a hat. Awesome. Thanks for coming out. Have a great day.
Guys, we're giving away hats. But only to people who already don't have hats.
You get some good views on live stream?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was watching all your other ones this weekend.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for tuning in.
Hey Ted, can you keep spamming that donation link? Because the donations aren't coming in fast enough. Ooh, a new donation came in. Thank you, James, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Highest donation during the stream gets a shout out on camera from the next president of the United States when he becomes president. Will you know how jealous all of your friends will be that he thanked you on camera before the caucus even began? Because you were one of the early supporters who donated. And if you can't donate $768, just donate whatever you can. $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10. Excuse me, would you got any of you be interested in a hat? It's free. Yeah, you want one as well? Sure. Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming out. Thank you, Michael, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Remember, our current donation leader is Alex at $768. Okay, let me go get more merch to hand out. Our current donation leader is Henry. And guys, I'm gonna warn you, the selfie line is gonna be coming to an end soon. We also have to have Alex, who was our donation leader yesterday. So right now, the donation leaders are Alex and Henry. Excuse me, would you be interested in a sign? Yes, of course. Awesome. I would say, would you like a sign? But it looks like you already got a sign. Unless you want the Humanity First one to go as well. Awesome. Have a great evening. Excuse me, sir. Are you interested in the free sign? Sure. Awesome. Second. Would you like a sign?
Oh, we got the home time.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. How's it going? Good. Excuse me, sir, would you like a sign? Thank you, James, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Oh, wait, already thanked James. Thank you. Oh, new donations rolling in. Thank you, Brandon, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Jonah, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Edward, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Thank you, Zhao, for the $10 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Let's keep those donations rolling in. We are looking for $768 to Andrew Yang, and you will become the shout-out leader to get the highest donation. Excuse me, would you like a free sign? Awesome, thank you for coming out. Excuse me, would you be able to take a free sign?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay, you're good, thank you. Thank you, Linda.
Anyone else? You're a smart guy.
Were you interested in helping
Getting something out of it.
All right, what was your reaction?
You already did me.
I know. I want to get the post-meeting Andrew reaction.
Oh, well, it was so nice. He just seems like a genuine guy, just a regular guy, nobody uppity or, you know, and I kind of shook his hand here when I was in the front row, and then I got to take the picture with him, so just nice.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Just down home.
Awesome. You have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you
Take
too.
care.
Sorry. Were you interested in helping Andrew win by volunteering?
All right, precinct captains, stuff, volunteers. Yeah, all come here for a second. You ready? Miguel, where you from? All right, come on in, guys. Good. Come.
I'm Viola.
Crunch, 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 guys. Some get in front. Some get in front. Yeah. Three volunteers. Get in there, guys. Yeah. Look at me. Awesome. Oh, great. I love it.
Thank you, Andy, for the $5 donation to Andrew Yang through the yanggame.com donation link. Guys, this little selfie line is coming to an end, which means if you would like to be the donation leader, you gotta donate at this exact moment. It's now or never. Henry is the current donation leader at $768. And then we also have Alex from yesterday at $420. We appreciate everyone who donated their hard-earned money during the stream for Andrew Yang. All of you guys are powering his campaign. And if you can't donate, remember, you can still help out the campaign by going to yang2020.com/call or yang2020.com/text or coming out to Iowa and volunteering your valuable time and knocking on doors for Andrew Yang. Oh wow, thank you NORAD for the $100 donation to the Zach and Matt show. That is much appreciated. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Am I a robot? My name is Matthew, not Zach. So because of that, I will not answer your question. We are still looking for your donations through the yanggame.com donation link. Which one of the 1,199 of you will step up right now and donate just $1, or maybe even $2, or maybe even $3, or maybe even $4, or maybe even $5, or $10, or $20, or $25, or $20.20, or $50, or $100, or $768? Become the new donation leader. Who is Matt? What's up? You guys need to donate to the yanggame.com donation link right now. The yanggame.com donation link. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe.
Thank you. Now, did he say?
Yeah. He said stop by and do
You want to come join us?
I'm gonna get home. I think. Yeah. Watch some football. Relax.
Oh, no problem, Dustin. This is Zach. Thank you so much for all your hard work. Am I going to vote for Yang? Andrew, could I get a shout out for Henry and Alex, who both donated a total of over $1,000?
Hey, Henry and Alex, thank you so much for the support and generosity. You are right here with us in Waterloo, Iowa. You're how we win. You're funding the bus. You're funding it all. So thank you guys. We'll see you on the trail.
Thanks, Andrew. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
I'm pretty happy because I met my goal. I finally got a picture with Andrew.
Awesome, dude.
It's, I'm all in Yang Gang, man.
Yang Gang. You want to answer a few questions on film?
Sure.
Awesome. So, when did you first hear about Andrew?
Oh gosh, it's been months now, and I'll be honest, it was just on a whim that I first heard about. I wasn't even looking at Democratic candidates at the moment. I mean, I wasn't really enthusiastic about anybody, and then for whatever reason, I watched the Joe Rogan podcast with Andrew Yang, and that's kind of where it all began. I'm just like, whoa, this guy's making a lot of sense. He's bringing new ideas to the table. Seems like he's a lot more focused on our future, the future for our kids. And so ever since then, I latched on, started looking at his policies, and he's just someone I think that can bring a lot of people together, and just has a lot. I really like his general disposition.
Absolutely. And what is your name?
Chad Thompson.
Chad, my name is Matt. Nice to meet
Matt,
you.
good to meet you.
Do you have a Twitter or anything like that?
Yeah, it's Chad Thompson 108.
Chad Thompson 108. ChadThompson. And then what were the numbers?
108.
108. Guys, follow him right now. Dude, do you have any gear? Any Yang gear?
Yeah.
All right, dude, come with me. We're gonna hook you up.
I got my stuff here, so I suppose it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be good. I've left my stuff right there. Excuse me, ma'am.
Sorry, I should have asked before you started.
Yeah, we'll get you a sign
there we
for
go.
one. And I'm not sure if that hat's available.
You need a hat?
He needs a hat.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Bam.
Is the book available as well?
We do not. We only have a few copies, so we're just
copies
showing them
left?
for people.
Okay.
Bumper stickers too.
I'm just
But
trying to
you
hook
can-
this guy up with some merch.
You can get it online. Oh, there you go. As well. You can get it online if you go to the Yang 2020 webpage.
Okay. All right.
Awesome. For your friends if you have it. Well, there you go.
You want a bumper sticker too?
Sure. I'm ready to make America think harder.
Yeah, dude. Let me get you a bumper sticker. Do you have any extra bumper stickers?
Sweet.
Appreciate it. Thanks,
There's a
man.
couple of these little guys.
Oh,
you got like
more
a
stickers.
or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's probably the last two we have with us.
Best day ever, man.
Hooked you up, bro.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
No
so
problem,
much,
man.
dude.
Thanks for coming out to the event.
You made my day.
No, you've made my day. Yang gang.
These are the best.
Excuse me. Question for you. Would you be interested in answering a few questions on camera about what you thought of the event, what you thought of Andrew?
I can try.
We can try. We'll try for
I
it.
get a little nervous.
I get a little nervous too, so it's okay. All right. So, what is your name, sir?
Paul.
Paul. Nice to meet you. And Martha. My name's Matt. Nice to meet you. What did you guys know about Andrew coming to the event? Were you already supporters? Were you just interested, or?
I was interested. I've been trying to meet candidates. It feels like it's an interview process for me, and kind of raised my eyebrows. It's $1,000 per person. So I wanted to find out more about it, and I wasn't getting the right information. Anyway, coming into the event, he was my fifth choice. I'm believing he was my first choice.
All the way from 5th to 1st. Wow. Who were you considering other than Andrew?
Well, I was all in on Kamala Harris. I was so impressed by her at this point when she left. And then I started looking at Biden, and people asked me why I was looking at Biden. I said, I'm just looking for a candidate that I think can beat Trump. And today I think Andrew can beat Trump.
Awesome. What would $1,000 a month mean to both of you personally?
It'd be nice. I think before I retired, it would have been nicer. I mean, I put everything away I could, and I was really short on funds. And with illness issues and stuff, it would have been a godsend. Now that I'm retired, barring no health problems, I think I'm doing okay.
And what about you?
Coming into the event, I've had Yang's like number 3, and afterwards
Number 1. Wow, that's incredible. That's awesome. I'm a huge Yang fan myself. Like, I go around following and live streaming all of his events, so it's a pleasure to meet both of you. And thanks for coming out and giving Andrew a chance and listening to him speak.
Where are you from?
Maryland. Yep. But I haven't been home in like 2 months. I've just been on the road, so.
And we're from Grundy Center, so
30 miles from here.
and Stephen King is in our district.
Oh, we got to get him out. David Schulten.
Yeah.
That's what I voted
Yeah.
for.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It's funny because being a hometown boy, I always think everybody I meet from Iowa for some reason. So Maryland, that's cool.
Yeah, no, I really like it here in Iowa. Everyone's so nice. It's like, I've been doing like door knocking and stuff, and if you knock on a door in Maryland, they might throw something at you. But here, people invite you in. Some lady made me hot cocoa. No, Iowans are very nice, and I hope both of you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. You heard it first. 5th to 1st and 3rd to 1st. This is going to be the end of the live stream. Ted, Andrew's left. But thank you, Kevin, for the $10 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Jonathan, for the $2.20 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Remy, for the $50 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Anna, for the $25 donation, Andrew Yang. Thank you, Harjat, for the $25 donation, Andrew Yang. All right, this is gonna be the end of the stream. I got to drive to the next event, which will start around 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Wait, before I end the event, Let me do something here. I did not forget the shout out for Alex Esther. Sam Branson, can you send me that selfie? Esther, I did not forget the shout out for Alex. Yeah, there's 2 more events today. So one about 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then we have another town hall at about 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Murdo 3, none of your messages are showing up on the actual chat because I believe you've been blocked. From the main rally. Oh yeah! Yeah, dude. From who? From Virginia? From Virginia, right? From Mason University? I did not forget Alex. Sam, are you from the guy I met at Mason University and then again at Drake University? Okay, I got you, dude. Yeah. I put in your phone number, I just gotta find it. Yeah, my bad, dude. So sorry I forgot.
I didn't tell you what I was most proud of. The owner of this brewery, years ago, he asked me if I would teach him how to brew, and I said sure. So I taught Sean how to brew, and now he's running a brewery. I think that's the American dream.
Absolutely.
That's my most proud thing. I thought I can't leave without telling you that.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you. Sam, what did you put your name in my phone as? Or did I give you my phone number? You're making a big thank you, man. You as well. Sam, I'm trying... Sam, I know you're on Twitter, right? Sam, DM me on Twitter and I'll send it to you because I can't find your number in my phone right now. DM me on Twitter at Zach and Matt Show. Thanks, online name. Oh, Sam. Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. Yang month. Okay, that's why I can't find it. Okay, I found you, dude. Oh, I'm calling you. Didn't mean to call you. Message. Let me find the photos.
We're like so short on books since like the last month, which is amazing. But it's like the best thing to do is go online.
Sending them now.
What was your name?
My name is Chris. I'm Sean's wife.
Look, it's us.
I have something very similar to that one in like my
Okay, stream. Welcome to Iowa, where it is currently about 5 degrees outside. So we will be back at approximately 5 p.m. Central Time in, I think it's called Ankara, Iowa. And then after that, we're going to Dallas County at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And by the way, guys, it's very important that you donate through the yanggame.com donation link, because the campaign is allowing us to film every single event. Like this event that's coming up next is not public. Yeah, I'm going to go on the Zach and Matt Show Twitch after this event. After I end this stream, I'm going to switch immediate over. So we've told the campaign that we can raise them $100,000. And if you go to the yanggame.com, it says that we've raised about $85,000 so far, but most of that was not during the bus tour. In fact, during the bus tour so far, we've raised about $5,000. So we have about $95,000 to go, and we have 16 and a half days. So it's up to you guys to help us, me, Zach and Matt Show, as well as Ted from Yangstream, continuing to get this access and show the campaign that it's worth the trouble, because I'm not gonna lie, we do get in their way sometimes. We get in other people's way, we bump people, and we try not to, but it happens, because it's not like I have a journalism degree or a filming degree or anything like that. I'm just out here trying to do my thing and trying to, hey, take care. You're welcome. That's the guy that we gave all the merch to. Oh, we're going to get 15% in Iowa. But if you donate right now through the yanggame.com donation link, there's still 818 of you watching. 817. You guys are the hard chorus fans. Carrie Marr says hi. Hello, Carrie Marr. Hello from Iowa. Let me know if you end up with some extra time in Iowa City. I will, Sam. I'm pretty sure Andrew will be back in Iowa City at some point. There's 809 of you watching still. Guys, just donate $1 through the yanggame.com donation link right now. And if you can't donate, go to yang2020.com/text and yang2020.com/call and help support the campaign and reach all these voters in these houses here behind me in Iowa. Get the houses. By the way, Mert03, who has been spamming I need to blank someone's blank for the past 10 minutes, your messages don't show up in chat, except on my end. We need to yang these houses, guys. So make sure you call voters in Iowa and text bank. Hello from the Philippines and hello from Australia. Let's go. Boyce is on here? Is Boyce? Oh, hello, Mindful Skeptics podcast. No, I appreciate you, man. You're the man. You're the man, Boyce. All right, we're going to end this stream, and if you would like to keep watching the rest of our adventures, head on over to twitch.tv/The Zach and Matt Show. Goodbye.